Supernatural, which was a show that was pretty universally praised for having such a welcoming set environment and great place to work by guest stars and other cast members on the show. Do you feel kind of a obligation or an intention to?
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Like it's basically on day one of shooting, I let everyone know, like, this is my show. And I'm gonna do what I want, when I want to, and basically fuck y'all. It was important for me to set a tone, but I didn't want to be the exact same tone as Supernatural. Like, it has to have a little bit of a different feel. So that's what I'm going for. That's the vibe I'm going for on set. And I think everyone gets it. Like, they're not, necessarily immediately happy about it at the outset, but I think eventually I'll win out.
Awesome.
We had where Tom Welling had been on, he'd been the star of Smallville, and when Supernatural started production in Vancouver, I think Smallville had been already on the air for a couple of years at that point. And Jared and Jensen, I just know this story by proxy, but Jared and Jensen went out to dinner with Tom, and Tom basically told them, you have to be the stewards of the culture of your show. You have to be good people, basically. You have to not be dicks. And that, of course, talk about, earlier we're talking about what's in alignment with your character, obviously very much out of alignment with their characters. But, smattering of laughter, uncomfortable moment. But they took that mantle, and I think that it was interesting. Like, Jared and Jensen have always been sort of competitive with one another, but I think that they were a little bit competitive about that particular point. Like, who's gonna set the better example on set? Who's gonna be the stand-up guy on set and set the tone? And it really worked. It was a welcoming environment. Guest stars always felt like they were welcomed into the fold. It wasn't one of those, the tone and tenor on the set when a star acts like a prima donna and casts lower, cast members or crew aside, or is unkind or is a dick, it's just so unpleasant to be around. And I think that one of the dangers, frankly, of being a successful actor at a young age is that you are not a fully formed human. And so when you're suddenly placed in actors get doted on, and they kind of get showered in praise, and they can be, if you're a prima donna, you kind of get what you want. And so it can be tempting to fall into that trap as a young actor. And I think, by the grace of God, Jared and Jensen didn't do that, and they set a really good tone. We would have these dinners once a year with the president of the CW, Mark Pedowitz, who's a great guy and a really great leader. And he would always have us have a cast dinner with the cast of a couple of other shows that were just starting up. And his intention was really like, hey, do what these guys are doing, set a tone on set where everyone is happy to come to work, where you're showing up, knowing your lines, and on time, and that really genuinely helps breathe longevity into a show. But he was actually trying to get us to ever so slightly mentor upcoming casts. And I'm a little bit on set, I can be a little bit more of an introvert sometimes. If I actually kind of want to go just hide in my trailer a lot and read or something. But I am conscious of the fact that all right, I've been on sets a lot, and I kind of understand how these dynamics work, so I am consciously trying to, I don't know, help collectively mold an environment that will be good. See, I don't know. But it's so important. It's a funny thing. I noticed when I first got on Supernatural and first got started getting shuttled around by a driver in a limo to publicity events and stuff. It was this brief moment where I was basically an entitled ass. I was like, you're late, you know, like, ugh. And just started noticing entitlement welling up in myself. And luckily, I think I mostly caught that and mostly nipped it in the bud. It rears its head from time to time, but there's a draw to it, and the entire system of how sets are set up is designed to cater to the prima donna actor. Because if they don't deal with a prima donna actor, a prima donna can just shut production down. Somebody can just sit in their trailer and stay there for hours and cost the studio tens of thousands of dollars in overtime. So the entire system is like, can I get you anything? Can I dote on you? It's almost like you're treated like royalty, and that can go to your head really quickly. So it's something that, I don't know, something that I think about, and I wish we had a different system. Like in Europe, from what I understand, a lot of actors are just treated like other crew members, which is how it should be. We're all just working on this thing together. No one's better than anyone else, except for some of us are a little bit better, but you know. Okay, that's enough.